What's up, y'all? It's Mr. 6 feet 8 coming at you with a new video. Baby, did y'all sit here and get into this Iyanla Fix My Life? I believe it was episode 3, Unfinished Business, Dirty Laundry. Look, it was a whole lot to sit here and unpack. So go ahead and sit here and have a seat, take a drink. Good morning, rise and shine. It's top of the grind. Let's get it. Roll the beautiful bean footage. We got a lot to see and talk about because there was a lot of still division in this household, okay? All right, y'all. So look, I have been gone for a minute, as you see here and know, a whole working lot and stuff, and I be having stuff going on. So it'd be really hard for me to sit here and hop into the studio to sit here and bring y'all great content. And I feel like if I can't sit here and bring quality content, I'm not gonna sit here and do it at all. Hold on a second. Okay, I had to see what that was. I'm not gonna sit here and do it at all. So, basically, I'll give you a life update in another video because I gotta be to work in about an hour. But I'm gonna go ahead and sit here and dive right down into this video. So Iyanla, as we know, this is her last season, season 8. She says she is done. Y'all are not paying her enough to sit here and put up with the BS, and she got to sit here and go on about her business, honey, and live her life and retire and do something for herself and get her own groove back and worry about her own problems. Okay, nonetheless though, we see that the family has returned of Mark, who is 55 years old, Mark and Jamil, who are married, that has 6 kids. Jaden and Jordan are Jamil and Mark's kids. Well, actually, I'm sorry, Jaden and Jordan are actually Jamil's kids, already brought in from a previous situation. And then, if I'm not mistaken, correct me, y'all. And then you have the other kids, Ashley and the twins, who were not here present for the episode. And then there was another guy that was also that had to do like a little Skype video that he wasn't present, but Mark Jr. was present. And baby, when I sit here and tell you this whole episode gave me a complete headache from start to finish, okay? It was really sitting here and giving me a headache, just a complete headache. So nonetheless, y'all, so just to kind of sit here and give y'all a little backstory, this whole episode was basically a continuation from the last episode that we know that we saw old Miss Dorothy ass, okay? Miss Dorothy, 73-year-old ass, gonna sit here and have the nerve to sit here and tell Jada, her granddaughter, that she loves all of her grandchildren, but she don't like all of her grandchildren. And the grandchildren she was referring to was basically Jaden. Now, we didn't know why or the what behind what, so this was basically a continuation of the episode to give us a recap, basically, as far as to give us closure as to why she didn't like her granddaughter. And it come to find out that really, when it all boiled down to it, Miss Dorothy was really the catalyst in all of this toxicity that was going on. Y'all gotta excuse me on country, so that's the best way I know how to pronounce it, child. Toxicity. That's what I'm gonna sit here and call it, and that's what we gonna sit here and name it. But nonetheless, she's a catalyst for all of this madness going on in her family because, what I noticed is that when Iyanla called Miss Dorothy the Queen Mother, baby, she carried that Queen Mother all throughout the episode. That was her segue all throughout the episode to sit here and get the growth and healing that she needed. She just basically wanted to sit here and feel validated, basically, is what it was. So all of this trickled down from Dorothy. And for those of you that may not know who Dorothy is Mark's mother, okay? Mark's mother / wife is what it was really sitting here and giving me, because I ain't never seen a situation to where the doggone mother of a child acts more like the husband than the actual relationship that the husband is in with his wife, because that's very much what it was. And y'all had a incestual relationship going on. It may not have been physically Mark and Dorothy, who is Mark's mother, but it was definitely emotionally that, you was definitely dependent on one another. And, I commend Iyanla for calling it out like it was, because it seemed to me, and Mark kind of explained this to Iyanla at the end of the episode, that basically the reason why he always felt like he had to be this aggressor and lion and man of the house was because there was a guy that his mom was dating, I think, if I recall correctly, who actually, had came back and tried to rob them. And he ended up finding the man later on and pretty much, beating the man almost half to death. And ever since then, he felt like he had to be the man of the house. Not only that, but Mark also talked about, okay, and as far as how he, felt like that his mom always chose a man over him. So as you can see, Dorothy, who is the queen mother, okay, as Iyanla see here entitled her, she was the reason for a lot of this stuff happening, because now you got Mark, who is sitting here pretty much passing off, and reflecting his stuff that he had going on onto his own kids, okay? So then we got the situation of where, Ashley, okay, who was one of Mark's children, felt neglected by her own father, because it seemed to me that in the previous episode, Janae and Shanae, I believe, are the twins' names, that, Mark seemed to favor them more than they did Ashley, and Ashley kind of felt like a third ball. And a lot of that was because of the fact that Mark was doing some of the same exact stuff that he seen his mom as far as do to him. So it was pretty much a thing of like, okay, trickle down effect. And then, you also got to sit here and talk with the fact that Ashley's mom, who is not Jamil, but another woman out there, I don't really think that she was a mom to Ashley. So now you got Ashley feeling some kind of way. And Ashley even explained that, look, as far as my kids, I'm always making sure that I'm around them, because I want them to feel like that I'm present in their lives. Because at one point, Ashley and one of her siblings was left in the doggone house for 2 weeks while her mother was going out doing drugs and God knows what else. So, you can clearly see that there's a generational curse as far as family-wise when it comes to some of the stuff that these kids have witnessed from, as far as whether it be their father, mother, or whether it be their grandmother. So it's just generational curses trickling down onto another. And what really got me is how Dorothy wanted to sit here and blame, talking about at the end, she don't know why she said that she didn't like her granddaughter, Jaden, because of the fact that she said she blamed the devil. Look, y'all be killing me. The OGs out there, I know y'all want to put God in everything, but I'm glad Iyanla sit here and called your ass out, Dorothy, and sit here and told you, look, don't put the devil in this. The devil ain't got nothing to do with it. The devil didn't sit here and make you sit here and do a lot of things, okay? People always want to sit here and blame the devil and use the Bible when it's necessary for them to sit here and use it. But let something else happen, it's everybody else's fault. But I do commend Dorothy for at least taking ownership of a lot of things, because, like I said, it did seem like that she depended on this man as her husband, her own son, Mark. And even Jamil, Mark's wife, even mentioned, she said that if I recall correctly, if Mark wasn't her son or something like that, that she would have married him or something like that. And I'm just like, child, who says that? Okay? Who says that? So basically, Dorothy didn't like her daughter-in-law is what it all came down to. Dorothy didn't like her daughter-in-law. Dorothy didn't like Jaden, who was Jamil's daughter. Dorothy just wasn't sitting here and feeling a lot of people. And at the end of the day, when it all came down to it, she could not give any explanation as to why she didn't sit here and feel as far as, no ways about as far as, Jaden or Jamil, other than it was the devil's fault. Then moving right along, we got Mark Jr., who basically said that he was just there for a check, child. He was like, look, bro, I don't sit here and really care too much. I'm just here to sit here and get paid and take my ass home. And that's why the twins didn't sit here and show up quiet as it's kept, because, hell, they was there for a check as well, putting on for the put on in the last episode when Iyanla first visited them. So I'm glad that y'all asked to stay at home, because we didn't need all that toxic stuff, energy going on, okay? We already got enough dealing with in this family as it is, okay? So then we see Mark and Iyanla talking, because they have a sit down, with the other siblings. And, basically Mark has a bone to pick with his brother Jordan, because he felt like that Jordan abandoned, if I recall correctly, he feels like that Jordan abandoned him and his sister or whatnot to get out the household. But what Jordan was explaining is that he had to get away from all of that, because his father was so aggressive, and how his father used to have, as far as beat on him and the way his father was with him, he was like, he ain't got time for all of this. He got to move on. And I can relate to that, because with my own personal life, my brother, he went through something similar to where he was like, look, I can't deal with our dad no more. I gotta move on, because sometimes when your dad be drinking, and as we all know, Mark was out here, drinking, always see him partying, I guess doing whatever he do, trying to be this man, trying to see him make himself feel validated. You don't want to be around all of that. So Jordan was like, look, I got to get the heck on, because, he had done started hitting on Jordan. His father, Mark, had done started hitting on Jordan, cussing him out. When he came through the house, it seemed like when he first stepped into the door, it was always a bone to pick with him. It was always something going on. And Jordan, I feel like, that just did not feel good enough. He didn't feel good enough to his father in his father's eyes compared to the other siblings. So as a result, he bounced. And because of that, Jaden and Mark Jr. felt some kind of way about that. And as Iyanla was digging into it, child, some kind of way, child, Jaden flipped off, okay, and got mad. Ashley, who was in the middle, who really got a close relationship with Jordan, her sibling, was trying to see him diffuse some of the situation, and then they got to going back and forth at it. And next thing we know, we see Ashley get up, and we see Mark Jr. see him turn around and say, "Suck my D," okay? He said, "Suck my D," and Miss Iyanla don't sit here and tolerate no disrespect up in her household. What you ain't finna see him come and do is walk up into her household and tell her ass that you just here to collect the check and suck your D. Oh, no, baby, we ain't fixing to sit here and do that. Did we not see what happened to the girl who, mother had pretty much stolen her from the hospital, and the girl wanted to see him get flippy at the mouth? Iyanla said, I ain't got to deal with that shit. So when it all came down to it, and she was trying to get through to Mark Jr. got his ass up and left too. And she told Mark Sr., hell, that ain't my son. I ain't got to chase behind him. It ain't my problem. And I definitely agree, okay? Ain't nobody finna chase behind a grown-ass 17-year-old, and I don't care if he is 17. At the end of the day, your ass is grown at some point. Ain't nobody finna sit here and chase behind you while you see him running down the streets, and Iyanla see him trying to give you her free services, and you getting a check, and you sit here and stay there, okay? Then we come see him and see Jamil, who is Mark Jr.'s mother, take her shoes out, talking about, he gonna be out here lost and stuff. Well, hell, let his ass be lost. Hell, she started to go see him chase and run her big behind after him. Look, ain't nobody got time. It was just too much going on in the sauce, okay? It was too much going on in the sauce. And like I said, a lot of this trickled down from the mother, because the mother, once again, Dorothy, her son, Mark, basically felt like that he needed to be this protector for his mother, because basically his mother, his whole life as a child, would sit here and always be seen with, wanting to choose man over him. And then the whole situation happened to where they almost got robbed, and he felt like he needed to be the protector, and that was traumatizing to him. So all this stuff trickled down from the head on, okay? At some point, accountability has to be taken somewhere. I'm just saying. Hello, somebody. But nonetheless, we get to all of that, okay? And then we see also Jamil have a conversation with Iyanla. And one of the things that I do like about Jamil is that Jamil obviously loves Mark. It's obvious that she loves Mark. It's obvious that she want to make things work. But I was happy to see when Iyanla had this cleansing spiritual session to sit here and take place for Jamil, and just had the other women in the family, as well as women that I guess were a part of Fix My Life, to basically kumbaya while she laid there, and just basically release. And what I really sit here and admire is how Dorothy, the mother-in-law, got down on her knees and told Jamil that she was sorry for what she had done. Basically, is how she treated her daughter-in-law. And I really did feel like that Dorothy really did mean what she said. You could tell that ever since Iyanla had a conversation with Dorothy and was telling her how you gotta own up and you gotta, accept accountability for some of the stuff that you have done that has caused your son to act the way he has acted towards these kids. You gotta sit here and take accountability for that, because you are the queen mother. And you can tell that Dorothy just wanted to sit here and be acknowledged and feel some kind of validation, because like I said, once again, her relationship with her son was kind of a little creepy because they had like this emotional relationship as far as like lovers instead of mother and son. It just definitely was giving me incest vibes, child. So I was glad to see the bonding and coming together at, during the middle of the episode, because I felt like that was something that needed to be done. Like, I felt like it was very much necessary. Then, on top of that, one of the other things I wanted to sit here and mention is that most of all the kids in the family had been molested. You had Jaden, who was molested at her grandmother's house, okay? And basically she didn't tell her grandmother because of the fact that she felt like that her grandmother, who already had a bad perception of her, Dorothy, would sit here and basically, try to make it seem like it was her fault and because she was being fast in the ass. Then you had Ashley, who was molested while her own father was basically turning up partying, I guess, somewhere at a house or at his house, and she was in the back being molested by God knows who. Then, if I recall correctly, you had some of the other children also dealt with molestation. So it was just like you had all of this other stuff, doubled on to everything else, and it just like created issues. And then, I heard Dorothy talking about how, she growing up wasn't really seeing all that well either. So it just was like a whole lot going on. It just was a whole lot going on. At the end of the day, y'all, though, I don't feel like that Mark Jr., though, got any healing. I don't feel like, you can tell at the end of the episode, he really was not here for it still. He really looked over it. Now, what I did like is that I did like the dynamic that Jordan and his grandmother Dorothy has, because you can tell that they really have this close relationship. Because when Iyanla first talked to Jordan, he didn't even really smile. And then when his grandmother came in after listening in on their conversation, he kind of, got, all sentimental with her and stuff. And the grandmother was sitting here and crying and saying that, how she loved her grandson. So I really was happy to see that at least some of these children have some kind of, genuine organic bond from the start. But as far as Jaden is concerned, Jaden said that she needs time to heal. Even though Dorothy has made it in her heart to apologize to Jaden for saying that she don't really like her as far as like her granddaughter, but Jaden was like, this probably is just for TV. I'm going to need to see some action behind your words. I'm not really sitting here and falling for the okie doke. So even though, yeah, I see that you apologize to me and I'm grateful for that. But Jaden was like, no, baby, this ain't, I'm going to need some more time. You're going to have to just give me a little time, okay? Give me a little time, and then we can come back and revisit the situation again. Another thing I wanted to see him mention, Iyanla talking to Mark Jr. after he acted his ass the way he did, and after Iyanla went and sit here and told Mark Sr., look, that's your son, and your son is doing this childish stuff, and ain't nobody holding him accountable, as well as her telling Jamil that also, Iyanla decided to have a conversation with Mark Jr. and say, look, let's take the mic off, cut the cameras off. As long as you don't lie to me, and as long as you're willing to sit here and do things differently, we can sit here and talk. So I really commended Iyanla for giving him another chance, because I'll be damned if you would have sit here and told me to suck yo, and I'm going to sit here and give you any chances. So when they, kind of had went back to the back, we didn't really see Jordan for the rest of the episode. So I guess Jordan was like, not Jordan, y'all, I'm sorry, Mark Jr. I guess Mark Jr. was like, hell, at this point, if I don't have to film, then, let me just get my check and just I'll meet y'all at the end. Because we didn't really see no more of him until kind of towards the end of the episode. So I didn't know what the conversation took place. I do feel like Iyanla got through to him. But I just feel like that he probably had some kind of guard up and shield up, because Iyanla, as she was explaining to him, you never had anybody in your corner to sit here and actually just love on you. You always just kind of been this person to kind of feel either abandoned or not loved on. And like I said, a lot of this came from Mark and Mark's relationship with Dorothy, his mom, and the whole dynamic of that whole weird mother and son, but really I treat my mom like my wife, even though I'm already married to my wife. Like, it was just a lot going on. So, there was a lot to unpack. At the end of the day, in closing, I'm trying to think. I think that was kind of most of it that was touched on. I do feel like that Jordan was able to at least kind of get some of the stuff that he had off his chest, the one that was on the Skype call, because, you know, him, Iyanla, and the other siblings, they had a conversation. But like Iyanla said at the end of the episode, this is not no overnight thing. It's too many moving parts. This is going to take some work on y'all part for y'all to really sit here and get some true healing. I can only give y'all the tools. And it's up to y'all to carry over and do what you got to sit here and do in order to make sure that y'all able to get the healing and work together as a family, because the family was divided. And you can clearly tell it was divided, you know, when we saw at the beginning of the episode. Nonetheless, y'all, I think that was it. I'm trying to sit here and think if there was anything else worth mentioning. I really do like, and I'm going to miss Iyanla once this season is over with. But, you know, I think after 8 seasons, you know, it's probably, you know, just go ahead and bow out gracefully instead of the network canceling, okay? Because we know Oprah, child, they kind of like CBS. You don't never know when a show gonna get asked to get picked up. But y'all leave in the comments, let me know what you see here and think. Until next time, my fun sizes, let me sit here and drink my little tea and get my ass on to sit here and work for they fire my ass. I'll see y'all later. Bye.